Eagle quarterback and friend of the show, Michael Vick, joins us now. Michael, from what you've seen so far, is Hurts the future in Philly?
Right now, yes, he is the future because there are no other options. And I think Jalen Hurts has played good enough football to show that he's, worthy of being looked at as the franchise quarterback. It's a lot more that he has to accomplish. We got to see him in bigger moments. We got to see him jump out in front of teams and pull out victories. Like last night, I felt like they had a chance. And I did watch that game last night, just evaluating Jalen and looking at everything he did, the in and outs of the offense, how they moved the ball down the field, his mannerisms. And I think he has all the intangibles. I think most importantly, is Nick Sirianni satisfied with what he's seeing out of Jalen Hurts? This is not a guy that he drafted, so do he have a specific type of quarterback that he's looking for? Obviously, like I said, Jalen got to win some games of significant importance, and if he does, he'll show this franchise, that he's worthy. But they're not going to wait, especially the fans playing in the Lincoln Financial Field. They demand excellence. They want to win. And, if not, you're going to hear the boos early, and it's going to become a distraction. So that's why I'm watching him very closely as he go through this gauntlet, trying to win games and trying to show the entire city of Philadelphia and the organization that he's worthy of being the quarterback for the future. But right now, I would say he's doing a good job based on his athleticism and what he brings to the table. He just got to learn to finish.
Finish? I want to see him get started. I mean, Mike, you do realize the man was 12 of 26 for 115 yards. In an NFL game when they've set it up so you can throw the ball, you see a Tom Brady throwing for 400 yards at 44. You see Justin Herbert. You see Joe Burrow. We see all of these guys throwing the ball for 400 yards. This guy had 12 completions for 115 yards. Mike, the things that are holding him back is his accuracy and anticipation. You can't be an elite level quarterback in this league without...
Football too.
Huh?
He's a dual threat. He can run the football, too. So, the coach got to put him in situations where he take advantage of his skill set.
Mike, you can't say somebody's a dual threat when they're throwing for 115 yards. I don't know, dual what? Dual exhaust?
How much did he rush for?
Mike, the dude rushed for 44 yards. Lamar Jackson is a dual threat. Mike. Lamar Jackson is a dual threat.
So, Shannon, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you think that's based on coaching, or do you think that's Jalen Hurts not understanding what needs to be done in the moment?
Okay, now, we saw last year, they fired Doug Peterson. Now, if we were to project Jalen Hurts' stats out over the same amount of time that Carson Wentz started, his numbers would have been worse than Carson Wentz. They traded Carson Wentz. Now, we see Carson Wentz in Philly throw for 402, 2-3 touchdowns, and look unbelievable. It took
Shannon, he's in his 5th season. That's understandable.
You know what?
This man is only in like his 8th game. He's still a rookie.
I knew you were going to do that. I saw Carson Wentz was about to win the MVP in his 2nd season before he tore his knee. Is that true? Yes or no? In his 2nd season, was Carson Wentz about to win the MVP had he not torn his knee? A simple yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. But that was his 2nd season. We talking about a man in his 1st season, pretty much his 1st year starting. And going through everything. He didn't even have OTAs. He had no training camp last. Look, I'm not making up any excuses for Jalen Hurts. Look, it is what it is. After seeing guys like Justin Herbert go out and ball last year, Joe Burrow, those guys put in the work. So that's the measurement stick for me. So, I'm still trying to evaluate, what's the deciding factor here? And I think we got to give him at least 3 more games in all fairness, Shake. Word.
Okay, give him the games. But I'm saying what I'm looking at is that, and this is what happened with Jalen Hurts. Teams get out the big leads, 28-7. He comes back and plays well in a situation where they're down by 21 points, and you look at the stat line, you're like, well, he didn't do that bad. But if you watch that game, the throws that he's missing, he had guys wide open, but he's waiting too long because he doesn't have great anticipation. His accuracy leaves a lot to be desired. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to have the strongest arm. If you have accuracy and anticipation, you can play at that level, at that position. Those are the two two most important things that you need, Mike, to play quarterback. Anticipation and accuracy. Because you throw guys open in this league, you don't let them get open. Because if you wait till they get open, the guys are too good, they'll close. He had Rager down the field on the go route. He waited till the guy 30 yards down the field. Come on, bro. That's all I'm saying, Mike.
The one thing I do see is Jalen holding the ball, and then he gets to scrambling. Yeah. And so I'm not back there, and I try to read as much as I can just watching from the tube. But I'm like, okay, are they long developing routes? Are guys not coming open? And you know, it goes back to what you're saying. Like, I can remember a lot of throws that I made. I threw guys open. I threw Roddy White open. I threw Deshaun Jackson open, Jeremy Maclin. Sometimes I had to anticipate and just be a step ahead of where they was going to be.
Correct.
And you got to have that attribute, you know, to America, to everybody's watching, in order to play the quarterback position. Give them a couple more games and let's see how this all plays out.
My turn. I told you from the start. I told you when he was drafted. I told you because I watched every snap he took at the University of Oklahoma, not to mention what happened at Alabama. Jalen Hurts will win more games for you than Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts is a natural-born leader. He is a winning football player. It's not conventional. It's Tebow-esque. I'm not saying he's exactly Tim Tebow, but it's going to fit more in that mold than the prototypical Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert kind of mold. He is not a great thrower of the football, but he can get deadly accurate when he needs to get. And all I know is I looked up last night, and it's 28-22 because he started making the throws and the plays that he had to make. And he ran for 2 touchdowns. And the numbers don't speak to it because it's only, 41 yards rushing? 44 yards rushing. But he ran for the 2 big scores. He made the plays he had to make because he is a playmaker. And he's the flip side of Michael Vick because his quickness and speed are underestimated because he's a glider. He doesn't look that quick or that fast, but he is. He gets away from people. He makes people miss. He made people miss down on the goal line on the first touchdown run where all of a sudden he just bolts it up inside and you saw a gear of quickness you didn't think he had. He lulls people to sleep. Last night, look at the time of possession. He only had the ball for 20 minutes to Brady's 40 minutes. I know you can say it's his fault.
Yeah, he going 3 and out.
Okay, but when it was time, he cuts the lead all the way down to 28-22, and all of a sudden the GOAT says, uh-oh, I better GOAT this. I better kill the clock by going 12 plays over the last 5 minutes of the game to kill the clock. Because if that kid gets the ball back, he's going to beat us.
Right, but Mike, you know this. You get up 28-7, your defense doesn't play the same way because they say, look, nothing cheap, nothing deep. They're not playing. They don't want to give up anything big. So if you want to nickel and dime, you want to take 6-7 minutes off the clock to get a touchdown, they're more than glad to give you that. But if you look at when the game in the first half, when it was when it could have been nipped up, look at how he looked throwing the football. Skip, they were 3-10 on 3rd down. You can't win for going 3-10. You can't go 3-10 on 3rd down, Mike. You already know that's going to cost you.
Yeah, absolutely. That, 3rd down is
that's your money
something
down.
That's preached, Wednesday and Thursday, and then on Friday it's always reiterated. But like you said, you can't stall drives. You gotta, score touchdowns, and you gotta get points playing against a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady at quarterback. And drives can't stall out. Like I said, you gotta have some momentum. You gotta go tick for tack, and you gotta stay in the game. And getting the garbage points and getting the garbage yards, it really don't count because now, it's a sense of excitement because you're making a comeback, but like Alex said in the beginning, it's just too little too late.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you see later in the game when he needed to make throws? Could we see that throw he made to Quez Watkins on the roll up the boundary? It's just like, it's a big-time throw that got them out of the hole and kept them afloat in this game. He's rolling all the way to the boundary and throwing it on the run. That's a rope. Yeah. And by the way, he was inbounds like it was obvious, and I can't believe that the refs talked themselves out of that and then it had to go to replay, which is crazy. And then if we could also see the 2-point throw also to Quez Watkins, it's really good. because it's a tight window throw. You can see he has the capability of making throws when he needs to make throws.
Yeah.
Under Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, trust me, with guess who? CeeDee Lamb, because he didn't have anybody but CD. It was a show.
Yeah, but Skip, you have to understand, in college, guys, the guys are so wide open.
I understand.
But in the NFL, this is pro. They will close that distance.
Yeah.
You wait till a guy get open and try to throw him the ball.
Hey, much of the game, I will admit to you, I was disappointed in my guy, Jalen Hurts. But then when the money got pushed to the middle of the table, I look up and it's 28-22.
But Skip, the throws that you mentioned, he needs to make those throws early, Mike, to keep them in the ball game. As you mentioned, they're down 28-7. They're down 28-14. We needed to be in a situation where we're not down by 14, where we're not down by 21. We needed to keep the pressure on Tom. Well, then all of a sudden they get to the big lead and they take their foot off the gas. And then all of a sudden they have to pick it back up. I'm just saying, I just need to see better accuracy and anticipation if he wants to be the quarterback that Mike believes he can be. I just don't see enough of that consistent enough. Consistency is the key. Accuracy and anticipation is what you need to be an elite level quarterback.
Okay, so Michael Vick.
So we seen Jalen Hurts.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Skip.
So
now I was saying we seen Jalen improve in the passing game in college, and now I feel like, you know, he's still learning on the job, unfortunately, and he was kind of thrusting into this position. And you know, before I let you go, Skip, I think, you know, ultimately it comes down to what Nick Sirianni thinks about Jalen. He knows him better than us. He knows him better than anybody.
Okay, so the bottom line from Michael Vick right now is you're not completely sold, but you've seen enough early on that you're willing to wait and see more.
Yeah, I'm willing to wait because of the lack of preseason, because of the lack of training camp last year. Now I just feel like he's learning on the job. Give him about 4 or 5 games, and he has to go through this stretch where he's losing.